excuse me all, because I didn't know I was doing this either, but because it's for Jerry, I'll do anything for Jerry. So yeah, I think when it comes to people's talent, I'm not somebody who usually likes to say somebody's better than someone. I think everybody's great, but when it comes to Jerry, I'm biased. It's the only thing I'm ever biased, and you know, when people say he's one of the best, he's not. He's the best. It's just as simple as that. He's the greatest talent that's ever been in any kind of anything, in my opinion. So I first met Jerry when I was 16 years old in Bristol, England. I remember I was waiting outside the back door of a venue, and Jerry walked past, and I grabbed his hand, and I didn't let go, and he kind of pulled me with him. And he just smiled and laughed at me. I don't know, for so many people, Jerry's music, he means so much to them, and I'm the same, but for me, it's on a much more personal level. And the man Jerry was, that's what means, that is what has meant so much to me. Yeah, when I was a teenager, I suffered like a trauma that lasted a good few years, and when I was 17, I was in a very, very bad place where I was very, very lost. I couldn't even talk, literally. I was very depressed, and I was just in a very, very bad way. And when I think of the power of Jerry and just him and him alone, thinking like I was a 17-year-old from Birmingham and he was somebody who just lived here. He was the one and only person who brought me out of it. And as I say, I'd met Jerry once, but I didn't know Jerry on a personal level, and that's just the power Jerry has had all over the world, through so many people who have got so many stories, and some that he won't have known. But Jerry gave me a life and a purpose, and he's been an incredible inspiration. All these things I'm saying, I can't really express just on the level that it is. I lost a lot of friends during that time as well because of what I was going through, and one of the things I'm so appreciative of is of the friends I've met through Jerry, and I've got to know Jerry and his family over the years, and I've got to know Jerry quite well himself as well. The most fun I've ever had in my whole life has been with Jerry. The coolest moments I've ever had have been with him. I don't think they'll ever be topped. I've had girlfriends from not far from here because of Jerry. Yeah, I could go so on and on with so many things like that. But when I look at everybody here, Jerry has given me a family, something that I'm really appreciative for. You know, some people I haven't met here, but I feel a connection with everybody here because everybody loved him the same as way I do, and that's the power of Jerry. He was an absolute superstar, like at the highest of the high. Yeah, and I think that's the main thing I've got from Jerry, and yeah, I've spent so many good time with him. Like when my mum passed away, and he comforted me and things like that, and he was always singing everywhere, always singing, which I love. I've been able to help out at so many shows behind the scenes for him, and I've got to know his family so well, who've become from my family, and friends who will be family for life. And I just want to say sorry, like Aidan said, for everybody's loss, because I know we're all feeling the same thing, and the only real comfort is that I know Jerry was at peace, and he is with the good Lord, which does give me comfort, and that is the main thing. He is in paradise, so that does give me comfort, as much as I'm missing him, and as much as we're sad. that is the only thing that gives me comfort. If I'm a friend of yours in these next few weeks, as I have been, please just let me know if you need me, because I understand how people feel and I want to be there for everyone as well. But yeah, I just want to say the killer will always rock on and on. It's impossible for his spirit to die, and it's when you love someone, it's impossible for them to leave you. He's here right now, so yeah, I just love you all. Thank you.
Darren White.
While you're just sitting up there was my son Daniel. As you're well aware, we're from England, and my story is I used to be a 50s rock and roll DJ in Birmingham, England. And when I decided to give up doing the DJing, I thought I'd love to go and start following somebody, some star for 50s rock and roll. And I started to follow Jerry all over the world. The story with me and Daniel, when Daniel was 10 years old, I was going to see Jerry in a show in Europe. And the show was at Wembley in England. And it was such a special show because we managed to get seats right down the front. I think it was the third row back. And what was so cool about that show was having a 10-year-old sitting by me, and he knew every lyric to every Jerry Lee Lewis song that Jerry Lee Lewis played that night. And all the fans around us weren't watching Jerry, they was watching Daniel singing all these lyrics. And then Jerry started looking at Daniel, and he quickly realised that this 10-year-old knew every lyric to every song that he was singing. It was fantastic. And as the years went on, we followed Jerry, as I said, all over the world. But when I stopped travelling with St. Jerry to build my family, Daniel carried on doing it. Daniel carried on following him everywhere, all over the world. It was fantastic. And he used to come back and he used to tell me so much stories, so many great stories about Jerry and Jerry's family. But you know, being a lover of 50s rock and roll music, you know, everybody's got their favourite, and at some point you will decide if you love rock and roll music or blues music or country and western, you always get a favourite of your own. And being a DJ, obviously I used to play 50s rock and roll with loads of artists, Little Richard, Chuck Berry, Fats Domino. But it was when I watched the Steve Allen show with Jerry, when he played a whole lot of shaking, and it made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Fats didn't do that. Little Richard didn't do that. Chuck Berry didn't do that. Jerry Lee Lewis done that. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. And that's what done it for me. And you know, we started following him. I listened to all his recordings, and to be here today, to one of my heroes, and to watch my son just say them few words up there, such meaningful words. I'm so grateful, I'm so honoured. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I just wanted to thank all of y'all for coming and what Ferriday meant to my husband. And to tell you that he loved this town till the day he passed. And when he would talk about what he wanted, he loved Mississippi, loved Tennessee, but he loved Ferriday. And I personally, we had a gathering in Hernando, Mississippi, which is what he wanted, just a wake, they call it. And I stood in line and sat near his coffin for 2,000 fans. Never got tired, because Jerry Lee Lewis, as much as he loved his family, he loved his fans with a love that you just could never imagine. His famous line was, "I love you, I need you, I couldn't do it without you." And that's what he meant. And I just wanted all of y'all to know that Natchez and Ferriday, he loved it. He played in Natchez down at the, I don't know, remember what they called it, but in a little band when he was 15, and he could play every instrument, and his drummer didn't show up. So he played the drums with his left hand and the piano with his right hand for the whole show. We met years ago, and we grew up the same way. We had the same kind of upbringing, same kind of mom and daddy, the daddy that traveled all over in different schools and all of that kind of stuff. And we would talk for hours and hours into the night. And the main thing that touches me the most is what his fans meant to him. He never forgot his fans, and he would talk to them and help them in any way he could, financially, whatever. And I did want to speak about the love of his family. He was a great husband to me. He was a great father, and he was a great brother. And the love that he had for his family was the same kind of love he had for his fans. His fans, like Graham Knight, that met him. Graham came to his house. I could tell you dozens of people that he would just invite and help their lives. And Daniel White is one of those that stayed in touch. Jerry stayed in touch with him all of his life. And I feel very, very blessed, just extremely blessed, that I got to spend nearly 13 years with him. And I did ask him one day, I said, "Well, you had so many wives, you know, why did you marry so many times?" He said, "Well, I wanted to give them a chance to marry Jerry Lee Lewis." That is a very true story. Very true. He said, "I didn't ever know I'd find the right one." He said, "I had to do that to find the right one." So I could go on and on and on about everything, but I wanted to thank the city of Ferriday, and he just loves it, and we love all of y'all, and y'all just don't forget me, because I loved him more than you could ever love anybody. Thank you.
God bless you, Miss Judith.